Waiters, what's the saddest time waiting for someone you have experienced? I used to work birthdays at a science museum. So, one weekend, the birthday family arrives. I escort them back to their room as usual and start talking with the mom about how she wants things to go, setting up the room, etc. She mentions that they just moved here and her son doesn't have many friends yet. So they invited one cousin about their son's age and then just invited the kid's entire second grade maybe class to the party. An hour goes by and the little cousin has shown up, but nobody else. The little dude invited every kid in his class and not one of them showed up. Now to be honest, the birthday boy himself didn't seem that concerned. He and his cousin were happily playing with each other the whole time. I just don't think he was really that warmed up to the kids in his class to begin with. But the mom was heartbroken. She had set this party up for her son, had bought a birthday package that included a private room, general admission for all guests, and me taking a tour of liquid nitrogen to the room, and making ice cream for the party. She had high hopes for this, and nobody showed, and she was in tears. And she asked me to go out the museum and just invite random kids into her son's birthday party, just so that there would be at least some other kids for him to play with. And this is the part that I'll never forget. We found a half dozen kids who were interested in coming to the party, and the mom was very grateful to them. But word also got out to the staff, and the staff absolutely rallied around this kid. Other employees showed up to sing him happy birthday. Some staffers went to the gift shop to buy him gifts. One of my managers got the family vouchers for future admission. We have a mascot, a robot, who will walk around and play with guests, and he showed up to the party with some gifts from our gift shop. I brought down the materials for making a couple of different types of homemade slime and made slime with the kids. One of my coworkers, one of the smartest and kindest people I've ever met, spoke with the mom about the son's interests and discovers the birthday boy is a fan of the Avengers. So he goes back to where we have a laser etcher on display and comes back with a wood burning. That is a picture of the Avengers wishing the son happy birthday. By the end of the party, the mom was in tears again, but for a very different reason. A few days later she sent us the sweetest letter about how much it all meant to her. I worked 3 to 5 birthdays a weekend, every weekend, for about 5 years, and they were always fun. But that was the absolute best day at work I've ever had. Yep. This is where I stop reading for today. Gotta end on a high note, right? This is the first and last post of this thread I'm reading. After the wholesome experience I really don't want to see the rest. I was actually a hostess at the time, and I was asked to take the table for a server. An old man came in asking for a table of 6, and he asked for 6 waters. I set up his table, and I put his order in. He said it was his birthday. He was there for about an hour or 2 and nobody showed up. It was really sad. He ended up tipping me like $30 and he said sorry for the trouble. I still think about that guy. I hope he's doing okay. I was that guy once. All of my friends bailed without explanation. At least it wasn't my birthday. I used to do that when I was younger. I was selfish. I think I realized how messed up it was to flake on people when my sister graduated and had a party. She invited some of her classmates and we cooked so much food and nobody showed up except family. I felt so bad for her. So now when I say I'm going, even though on that day I feel like crap, I'm going. My daughter tried doing that crap with my son. I chewed her out to not do that cause her pose boyfriend would change his mind about doing stuff and she'd just go along with him. I'm glad she broke up with that pose and she stopped flaking on her little brother. Once at my shift I saw a really shy guy. You could see that he is on a budget, but wow, he was so trying so hard and looked so excited about upcoming date. He brought 1 rose and asked what he can purchase on €10 to make this evening beautiful. My heart melted so much that I offered him for free 2 glasses of wine and a dessert. I was a manager. We put on a table some candles, and so he was sitting there and with a big smile waiting for his date to come. But she never came. He waited like 2 hours, nervously checking on his phone. When he left, he gave this rose to me and thanked for kindness towards him. He was so broke. So was my heart about this situation. It would have been a romantic movie if, instead of waiting with him For his date, you start talking to him, fall in love mid-conversation, replace his date when it's obvious she's not coming. 2 weeks later you find yourself dating him, and in the middle of a date he randomly meets the girl he was originally supposed to date in the first place while waiting for you. Turns out she got the wrong restaurant and thought he was the one who skipped on their date, so she wants to get together again with your boyfriend, but her phone rings before he can tell her he's already dating someone, and off she goes. But you don't know that, and he's conflicted. This scarily sounds like a bad fanfiction. Sounds like a Hallmark movie. Okay, this story did not happen to me, but to my friend. My friend was a manager, still is, at a pretty fancy restaurant. She was working during Valentine's Day. A guy walked in, pretty nicely dressed, but not too nicely, kind of nervous. He's walked to a table for two. Since it was Valentine, the restaurant did its best to give off a romantic atmosphere. Roses on the table, love-themed dessert, etc. The guy order a water and start to wait. When the waiter tries to take his order he tells he is waiting for someone. He waits for an hours, the 2, and then 3, each time checking his phone, trying to call someone. After a while, my friend goes to talk to him. This guy had lost his girlfriend of 6 years. He was 24 at the time, 2 years ago, and it was his first date ever since. After that, she talked to him a bit more about him, how life is etc, etc. Turns out they had quite a bit in common, so they exchanged contact. A lot happened afterward, but they've been happily married for 2 years now. He is now 30, she is 28. He was in it for the long con of free desserts. To be fair, their cakes are to kill for. Not a waiter, but this happened to me. I went speed dating, turned up to the venue, to find it very quiet. Barely anyone was there. The event was on the 2nd floor, so I got a pint for the time being, and sat down, and waited for people to turn up. I tried to go up to the 2nd floor only to find that it had been closed off. Noticing my confusion, the barman asked if I was there for speed dating. I said yes. He told me it was cancelled. I didn't get an email about this, nothing. So I sat there, dressed up and alone. I finished my pint and went home. Dressed up and alone. I finished my pint and went home. That, for some reason, hits hard. Sounds like the lyrics of some sad song that I could chill with. A waiter, but I witnessed a sad experience in a New York restaurant worth sharing here on askreddit. A lady sitting by herself at the table next to me just stared straight ahead and with tears in her eyes. When I asked her if she was okay, she told me that her husband had recently died and this was her first time out to a restaurant on her own. She said she had a pair of concert tickets for a performance at Lincoln Center they had planned to attend, but would now be going alone another first, since her husband passed. When I told her that I was a musician, she asked if I'd like her extra ticket. So we went together and had a great time. After the concert, we even went out for dessert and a nightcap. She was delightful. I'll forever be grateful for the opportunity in that crowded restaurant to speak to someone who needed companionship and understanding. Reminds me of an event a few years ago at the store I worked at. An elderly man came into the store looking very distraught and a little unkempt. A coworker of mine approached him and asked what was the matter. Turns out he had lost his wife to cancer only a few days before, and he had no one left, so he had just started to wander around in the mall just to be near people. My coworker took the time to sit down and talk to him and ask about his life, stayed way over the shift was over, and even bought him dinner, well, whatever was available in the fast food part of the mall. It was really heartbreaking to hear his story. Don't know whatever happened to him. The coworker asked for contact information, but didn't get any. We think he was of the generation that has a hard time with new technology.